the end of the day, truthfully, they don't want you out of business. They want you to work so you can make your money, so you can pay them.
Right, right. And I want to encourage everyone, again, this is not a sales pitch. This is real. For those of you that have the marketing questions, for those of you, and again, I'm at the risk of putting them out there. Everybody on this panel does consultations. Now, the prices of those, of course, vary, and they can share those if they want to, or you guys can go and check out their websites. But if anything that you've heard so far is a concern, whether it's from a marketing standpoint, I know some of you have had questions about the video marketing and the cost and things like that. But if you also have questions about your financial status, your tax status, whether or not you need to restructure your business and things like that, I would encourage you, again, I don't know how much it is, but I would encourage you to chalk it up and get that consultation so that you know that you're headed in the right direction for 2017. And quite frankly, if you haven't got your taxes done yet, you may want to talk to Saafir about that as well. But thank you so much, Saafir. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all of the examples. And again, guys, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box, or feel free to save them to the end, where we will be taking questions. Laurie Goodman is our credit restoration and repair specialist. Laurie has roughly 20 years or more experience in the credit counseling area. She knows everything there is to know about credit. She has actually done this in several states up and down the East Coast. So I'm really excited to have Laurie here so she can talk with us a little bit or a lot about the impact that your credit has on your business. Thank you so much, Laurie. So tell us, how can we make sure that our credit is not negatively affecting our business?
Well, I think that one thing that people fail to realize is that you have to work on you first. Your personal credit needs to be in a productive, strong status so that when the companies come in to even want to offer you any type of business credit, they can see that you even pay your bills on time. I think when it comes to credit, people are so scared to really understand the whole concept of credit. And basically, your credit profile is just really organizing your whole financial structure. You know, do you have a budget? Do you know how much goes out of your household daily? I know that we're talking about business credit, but I just kind of want to touch on the personal side first, because it can work hand in hand. We do have companies that stipulate you don't have to have good personal credit, but the first thing they're going to ask you when you fill out an application is about your personal financial structure. So the one thing that I want to just share with people is you have to understand that there's 443 million people in this country that have less than perfect credit. There are a lot of business owners that pay cash for everything because they don't have any type of business credit structure in their company. So the profits that they really could make goes out monthly because everything that they're doing is cash and carry. So when we're talking about credit, we're talking about being organized in your personal financial structure, credit structure or profile, so that you will be in a good position when it comes to your business structure, your credit, when it comes to business. I'm finding that a lot of times when I'm counseling or consulting with individuals, because I do individual counseling as well as business. So when we're talking about even the individuals, they're like, well, what do I do? And I said, you know, the first thing that people need to do is, first of all, look in the mirror and breathe. Because a lot of times people get real caught up and they get nervous and they don't do the little things that they can do, like organize your bills. Some people don't even know when their bills are due. They put them on their dresser in a pile and they leave them there. Even when it comes to business, they'll have a stack of bills. They'll go through them once a week. They'll say, I'm going to pay them when I pay them. And then they don't get paid or they're late. Everything that you do when it comes to credit has to be in decency and in order. You need a budget. You need a budget for your business. You need a budget for your personal life. For your business. Do you know how much is actually going out monthly or weekly? Do you know when these bills are due? Do you know that you should never get calls from vendors unless they have specials or discounts? Not for them to be calling you about you missed a payment. Because then we're talking about here you go now, and you're talking about, all right, well, you're 30 days late. Your 30 days goes into 60 days, and then your business credit gets blemished, and it costs you more money to do business. So the first thing that I tell people all the time is, where are you in your personal life? Because most of the time, 80% of individuals that have businesses, if their personal credit is fine, most of the time, their business credit is fine. And one of the things that people say all the time is, Laurie, well, I'm a cash and carry kind of person. I want to pay as I go. It's okay to be that way, but if you have a business, why not create the best business credit you can have? Nobody says that you have to max out these credit lines that you're given, but in case of an emergency. People have storefronts, they have stores, they have all kind of things. The furnace can go out. You're responsible a lot of times for everything that's in your establishment. So I tell people all the time, you know what? The one thing you also want to know, and let me kind of go back a little bit, because this is one thing that people fail to understand, is that you have to have some leverage. You have to have some of your own money sometimes to leverage to get business credit. How many people have a savings? What's in your savings? What's in your savings? How does your credit look? When's the last time you checked your credit? All of these things are so important. Organization. I've been to clients' offices and they don't even have a file cabinet. And I'm not understanding, how do you structure a successful business when you're not organized? So I hope I'm not kind of getting off track a bit, because when it comes to, business, people are always saying, well, my personal credit is good. Well, your personal credit should be good for the basis of you needing always to have good credit, regardless. Then that's how you separate your personal from your business. There's so many business owners that have attached their personal credit to their business. And then when their business goes down the drain, so does their credit. So you always want to know that, how do I establish my business credit? Call me. I'll tell you. We can have a conversation. Because if not, you're going to be like a whole lot of other business owners that have good business structure when it comes to what they're selling, but they don't have any money. They have no savings. They have no leverage. You need these things to be successful in business.
And I'm glad that you brought up all of those things, Laurie, because I think that oftentimes, especially small business owners, we really don't think about the impact of our personal habits, the way that we handle our personal business. We don't think about the impact of that on our business lives. And so what tends to happen is that's why we sort of puff up and we feel like we don't need a CPA, because we know everything. We already know what we know. We don't need an attorney up front that can help us get that stuff organized and make sure you have all the things, because, why should I spend the money on that when I already know I can call LegalZoom? Or I can get the tax thing, TurboTax.
Oh, TurboTax, yeah.
Yeah, I can do TurboTax, or I can go to a financial seminar, so now I know everything Saafir knows, or I can go to legal for business, and so now I'm a lawyer too. I watch a couple episodes of Law and Order. Now I'm good to go. Right. We see that, and so what happens is, I think that from a societal standpoint, we are inundated with the do it yourself. See, now everything is do it yourself, but then when you get in trouble, you don't have the money You don't have the access to the credit. You don't have the access to capital to pay a LeTonya or to pay a Saafir. And then you complain about our rates.
Yes.
Because you haven't done the things like what you're saying, Laurie, to get yourself in a position so that if anything ever happens, you do have those systems in place. So to go further though, let's say that there is a person who, like you mentioned, they do have good credit, whatever good credit is, but they have good credit and now good personal credit. And now they're looking to establish business credit. What are some of the first things that you tell your entrepreneurs to do to start establishing business credit?
Well, let me kind of just go back just a little bit talking about what is good credit and what is a good credit score, because a lot of people don't know what a good credit score is or what they should be striving for. A lot of people think that because they can go get a car at a 500 credit score, that their credit is good because they got an automobile. Your personal credit should be 740 and above to have excellent credit. The thing that people fail to realize is if you use more than 30% of your personal credit, you're a higher risk and your score is blemished. You always want to keep your credit cards at a 30% limit. And a lot of people are like, well, why? Because they give you, you get $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $10,000, $20,000. You mean on $1,000 I can only use $300? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you can't pay $300, you can't pay $1,000. So if you get in the habit of just using what you can afford to pay, your credit will not get blemished. So I just wanted to just kind of reiterate and just share that a little bit. Now, when it comes to establishing your business credit, one of the funders that I work with will always look at someone's personal credit first. They'll make sure that they have an EIN number. They want to know what were your taxes? What did your taxes look like last year? How much did your company make? How much are you worth? How much is your company worth? They ask a lot of questions when it comes to things like that. So the one thing that I tell people all the time is, if your paperwork is in order and you can sit down and tell somebody how much you make and you're forecasting what you'd like to make in the future and what you need to get you there, then the funders don't have a problem funding you. The one thing that I also want to share is I was doing some business with my banking institute, and I just happened to ask the manager, how many business owners use their EIN number to open up a bank account with your establishment opposed to using their social security number? She told me that about 85% of business owners that they have in that establishment are using their social security number. So the one thing that I want to share with you is make sure that when you're going to the banking institutes to open up your business checking accounts or savings accounts, that you have all your documentation with you that proves who you are, who your company is, what's your EIN number, and everything that you need to show that you are a legitimate business. Because if you have one document that is missing, they either will tell you, well, you know what, we'll set it up with your social security number or come back. And of course, they never want you to come back. They want to get you while they can. So they're going to make you use your social security number and lure you in. And you never think to go back to give them your EIN number. So I wanted to share that because it was frightening to me. It was frightening because I tell people all the time, if it's something you don't know, buy a book and read about it, or ask the professionals like Saafir, like yourself, Tonya, because people are sinking before they even become successful because they don't know what they don't know.
Absolutely. You are 100% right, Laurie. And I remember when I got into this, okay, look, now somebody has to